Your effortless humor will help someone in need. Techreal, are you in need?
Well, yes, probably.
Fuck you. You're... Haha, he's laughing. I win.
Okay. Hello, everyone. What? You said you were going to do something random at the start of this. I could not have even predicted that.
I got it from Panda Express.
Oh my god.
Wow.
You did it. Oh my god. Effortless humor. Is that us? I'd like to believe.
Sure. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hello.
Welcome to the Side-ology podcast.
Welcome to Side-ology. I am Techreal.
Have you missed our chaos?
Probably.
Maybe. I have not. I have to live with... Remember that line? Did you ever see... You saw that part of Unisonus. I think there was a part in Unisonus where, like, Ethan says something about saying, like, I have to live with me all the time.
Yeah. That's one of the few Ethan lines I really resonate with.
Me too.
Because that's how I feel all the time about every word out of my mouth.
Me too.
It's like, if you're tired of me, I have to live with me all the time. And I am a lot.
I mean, mood. But hey, what's up, everybody?
Hello, people.
Hey, what are we doing today, Techreal?
We're doing a fan Q&A. The first fan Q&A. Ooh. We got questions to answer today. And we're excited to answer them. We're also excited because this is the first episode that we're recording since the podcast has come out.
Yes.
So episodes are out currently as we're recording this, and we've had reactions to the episodes, and we want to say thank you because oh my god,
that's so cool.
Like,
it's so cool you guys like took the time to sit down and listen to our silly podcast.
Yeah.
And I hope you're like, I don't know, learning some things. I hope you're like enjoying thinking about these different perspectives on Sandersides and on Inside Out and stuff like that. So we're having a blast.
Oh my gosh. And the comments have been nice. I've been enjoying the comments. They made me feel good. Oh my god.
I love you all very much. I love you so much
I love you
that
too.
I smile when I think about you.
Oh, sweet vibes. Oh my god. But yes. We're all really happy that you guys like Side-ology. And if you do like Side-ology, maybe spread it around. Maybe send it to your friends. Maybe send it to Thomas Sanders. Who knows? Remember cough, cough, Thomas. What?
If you're watching,
and if Thomas is watching this, I didn't say that. No.
But if not, no.
Not begging people to share it to the man himself.
What?
I said I'm not begging people to share it to the man himself. No. As I recede into my shirt.
Here's the deal, though. Every single one of you that's listening to this, whether we get more people or not, we appreciate you taking the time to listen to it. So thank you very much. And we're going to answer some questions every 3 episodes.
Yeah, probably. As long as we keep getting questions, then yeah.
Yeah, we're going to keep figuring that out and going from there.
Yeah.
So here's some questions we have today. What's the first one, Techreal?
Our first question comes from Phoenix M. And the question is, in fact, favorite line from Sandersides? What's our favorite line?
Hold on. Okay, there we go. I clicked out of something to then find it again.
Wow.
Yeah, I got confused. Am I going first?
You can.
My favorite line.
I have like 5 answers, so like you should go first.
Me too. Like,
there we go.
I need everyone to be aware that a lot of these questions are going to entail multiple answers because there's no way to get really specific about one specific answer.
No.
So one of my favorite lines in Sandersides is tattooed on my arm.
Oh.
It's that one right there.
Oh, the one that people on Spotify can't hear.
Yeah, but it says one step in front of the other, kiddo.
Hey.
Because as I've said before, that line really was exactly what I needed to hear when I was coming out of my senior year of high school. I've told the story already on the podcast, but now that it resonated with me so hard that having it tattooed on my arm reminds me to kind of take life one step at a time. Mm-hmm. And I like the little extra bit of Sanderside's kiss in there. Yeah. It doesn't have to be Sanderside's reference, it could be, but
it's just vague enough. It's a simple enough saying that you know what it's from and it's representative of what it's from. But it isn't so inherently so that people would be like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that line was the only time that Sandersides has ever made me cry. And I think it was just really well delivered. I think that entire conversation between Patton and Thomas at the end of moving forward was so important. That people tend to rush through life. And I think it's a really good reminder to just like, or rush through grief or rush through anything and just stay where you're at. So it's a very serious line. The other serious line I absolutely love is Roman in Accepting Anxiety, where he has this whole monologue about like, anxiety, you're what pushes Thomas to rehearse before performances. It's cool. It's a cool reminder that like anxiety isn't always there to like stop you.
Yeah.
It can just be trying to push you forward in a way. So like, I really appreciate that one.
That's a really good monologue. That's also like one of those like really early like examples of Roman being nice to Virgil, which at the time was rare.
Yeah.
Might have been one of the first times, honestly, that he was like legitimately nice to him.
It was so good. It was so good. I love the relationship between Roman and Virgil.
It evolved really nicely.
It's so nicely. I mean, anyway. So I also, so I have 4 here. So hold on. Those were 2.
I was going to say, so far, your reasonings are a lot more like deep than mine are. I have 5 stupid lines that are just funny to me.
Those are the 2 deep ones, though. That was the extent of the deep. The next one had me laughing for like 10 minutes. It's the, oh, mommy, I don't want the mashed potatoes. It's so good. Listen, it cracked me up real hard. And I wish I still had video evidence of me laughing for 5 minutes, but I don't. And then my other favorite line isn't necessarily words, but it's Logan looking at Remus's to-do list and working through intrusive thoughts, looking at the list, pouring out his coffee, immediately getting one and just pouring it and drinking like that. You don't need words for that. That's
wonderful.
That's the best. I can't. I have no words for how perfect that was. Gosh. So that.
I forgot how much I love that asides.
It was so good.
Literally, just hearing about that scene made me want to rewatch it right now.
It literally is that one scene, honestly.
So good. My favorite scene there is the hot dog scene.
Honestly, the hot dog. Genuinely, it was literally either between Logan and the wine, and then Remus going, "No, but I can. Don't flunk me. I don't know what Mama's gonna do when I'm getting to an Ivy League college." That felt like a very theater call out, and I was like, "Oh, neat."
I mean, of all the people to give the theater vibes, I mean, Remus is the other one because he has half of creativity. It functions.
I mean, yeah. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that Remus is a theater kid, if that's what that means.
I think so. Remus I think he's just as much a theater kid as Roman, more likely than not.
What kind of theater would Remus put on?
I don't understand your question. What kind of theater would he put on?
I don't know. I'm just all like processing Remus being an actor. Like, would he be in the scene or would he just...
I think he would make a production of Dear Evan Hansen where every character is Jared Kleinman. I think that is the only option for him.
All right.
Also, like 2 years of putting on Beetlejuice where every character is Beetlejuice.
Okay,
I just like to think he takes the craziest, most toxic character of every show and just throws them into every role.
God, that would be chaotic.
I'd watch it.
I would too.
Imagine if you're watching Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice is also Adam and Barbara, and Beetlejuice is also Lydia, and also Delia, and also the dad. Also the sandworm.
It's like the Olaf doing all the Frozen.
Yes!
All the stories, but instead of Olaf, it's Beetlejuice.
That's his theater. It's him just doing that, but dressed as the most toxic character there.
Period. Exclamation.
I would watch so much of that.
I would watch so much of that. That's the best.
Even those little Olaf shorts are really funny.
Olaf. The Olaf shorts.
The ones you just referenced.
I know. You said shorts, and I immediately thought of like pants.
Oh, I thought of Olaf wearing shorts.
Yeah, I got confused.
Him wearing clothes seems very weird to me. Like, I can't picture it properly because he just doesn't have like a body enough for clothes.
Yeah, I love how on topic we are right now. This is
I
fun.
know, yeah. Well, we're one question in, only halfway through because only one person has answered it, and we're already off on tangents that brought us to Olaf and Beetlejuice. So here we are.
What is your favorite line from the series?
Well, I have 5. None of them are connected, and they all just make me laugh. And I'm sure I probably can't even accurately say any of them because I don't remember all of it. But so in order of how I've written them, I have the line from. Oh no, I don't remember what episode it is.
I can help.
It might be from Learning New Things About Ourselves. It's Patton being like, there are all types of loops. Fruit. And then I think it's Roman.
He's done.
Yeah, he's done. Oh. That's I don't have a good reason for these. They just made me laugh. The next one is Roman saying, well, when is it enough? And Janice goes, trees.
That was so good.
I like that because that's the type of joke that I would make. So like, I'm very happy that Janice and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, it threw me off so bad. I remember sitting there being like, trees, what the fuck?
It's so dramatic, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, joke. And then it gets more dramatic. But next up is a reference that only when preparing for this episode did I a line rather that I found out was a reference, because you told me it was a reference, and I had no idea it was a reference, despite having seen the movie it was referencing, which is Logan's I forget exactly how it goes. He goes, flames on the side of my face, seething fire, which apparently is from Clue.
Seething, he did a seething fire.
It just makes that I Logan is great. And apparently that's from Clue, and I did not know that, despite how many times I've seen Clue. I still don't believe it, having seen the clip. But that's a good one.
Love it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
One I know we've already referenced in an episode, which is Janice's no. What did Roman say before that? Like, we have to beat their unconscious corpse or something like that.
Beat someone up and rob their unconscious body, right?
And just like, no! The delivery of that line is so perfect. It's truly one of the best delivered lines in the series, if you ask me.
SBS is just iconic. You can't beat SBS.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
You just can't.
I need to watch some of these episodes again. I haven't watched them in a bit. And we're making a podcast about this.
What are you doing? We're making a podcast about it. We've soiled ourselves. No, I'm just
kidding. I need to say what's on my mind real fast, because I just need someone else to know this plight that I deal with. Every time I hear, I've told you this before, Amy, every time the phrase, we're making a blank happens, my brain goes into the Muppets, we're doing a sequel. No! So my brain always goes to, we're doing a podcast. And I'm like, damn!
Shiz.
Kills me. It kills me.
What's the next Tech Grill? To avoid this song stuck in your head, what is the next question?
Well, no, I have one more line.
Oh, well then
I
say
your one more epic line from Xander's Sides, from Can Lying Be Good?
Tell me about your favorite.
I don't remember the exact line verbatim, but it's little Joan, little child Joan saying, "What happened to my fluffy sweet hamster, Sir Squiggles the Brave?" Do you remember that?
It's the Squiggles the Brave?
Yeah, Sir Squiggles the Brave.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was the last one I had on my list. I never told you. But that line is something that makes me very happy.
I thought it was the scream after that went like,
That's a good part of that. I forgot about that scream.
You were going for, but no, I'm glad that Sir Squiggles the Brave is.
Sir Squiggles the Brave. It makes me very happy.
Well, then do you like the one that's like, where they go into like all this, all the. Who also happens to be by Pat Epstein, like that part.
Oh, yeah, I love that whole scene.
The entire scene.
The whole scene.
That's fantastic.
It's just a perfect scene.
It's very good.
It has a little Pikachu hat, I think.
Can Lying Be Good is
Roman says my name. Because my name is Tech, and that's a theater term.
Damn. Well, that's good.
Also, fun fact for those at home, if your name is Tech and you hang out with theater people, watch out. You're going to hear your name constantly. Constantly. And you'll have to forever try not to make the joke of me when they say tech.
Hoopla.
Hoopla, indeed.
Hoopla.
Oh my god. Next question. Next question comes from Kalok, which is, what is the Sandersides episode you show people to introduce them to Sandersides, and why? Now, I've never done this. I've never, introduced someone to the series. I just watch it and hope people around me know of it.
That's fair. It's a rarity. It's hard to do because it's one of those things that's not necessarily a TV show, so people don't seem as interested.
Yeah.
Because it's harder to get them into it. I've come close. I don't think I've ever successfully watched Sandersides with anyone all the way through. I've watched the beginning of it with some people, and I've watched the end of it with some people.
Yeah.
But never
starting from the beginning and showing them fresh.
Walked through it with them.
Yeah. And also per this question, I'm very much the type of person who with a question like this gets a little confused at times because I'm I don't like showing people things not from the start. If I want to introduce someone to a series, it's very rare that I'm not going to just be hey, let's start from episode 1 and go there, if you're interested in the series. Because I don't like spoiling people on things, especially for plot-heavy series. So most of the time, I wouldn't just be oh, here's an episode that I can show you to get you into the concept, and then we'll start from the start if you want to.
Yeah.
Because I'm why would I do that if I can just build from the start? The only thing I've ever done that with is Doctor Who, because starting from the start is still at the start of the reboot, which is where I would start people out from, because I haven't seen the classic stuff. So if I was starting from the start, way back then, and a whole different vibe. And Doctor Who just has a lot of jumping off points that you can just sort of start anywhere a lot of the time. Yeah. So, yeah.
In that mindset, then, what would be the episode you'd choose to start with? The first one?
Probably, most likely, yes. In a logistic sense, I would. But if I was to choose another episode just to have a more interesting answer to the question, I would probably go with what is a very not plot-heavy episode and just sort of introduces the characters. So my answer is the Q&A episode. Previously my favorite episode before SVS came in and blew my mind. But
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the Q&A episode was my favorite for a while because I mean again, I love Q&As. But as we're in one right now. But no, that episode is a very simple episode which just sort of introduces you to the characters and the way they interact. And just gets you to know about them a little bit, and just in a way that doesn't spoil any story really, and just sort of a nice vibe. The only thing I think it spoils is one of the names, because I think one of the sides has a name at that point, maybe 2. I don't remember.
I think something like that.
I think Roman's name might have been revealed by that point. Logan Logan.
Logan was first, and then it was Roman. So it might have been Logan and Roman.
Okay, because I think there were 2 jokes where a name got interrupted, and it was Patton and Virgil. So I think at that point, then Logan and Roman. Wait, no, you said Logan.
Yeah, Patton didn't have his name yet.
Yeah, Patton definitely didn't have his name yet. But
Roman might not have.
I don't remember the order. I didn't even know that Logan was first until you said it.
Logan was first. No, I remember Logan being first because I remember that name dropping, and I remember going.
Yeah, I just know of the 4, Virgil was last. And then Remus, and then Janice.
Yeah, I remember Logan's being first.
That's fair. So that was mine. So what about you?
Okay. So that's honestly valid. Honestly, the Q&A is probably a good place to start, I think. I have been... I think there's a lot of people who have I have an anxiety disorder. Let me say it that way. Let me start with that. So I've been let down a few times with people saying they want to watch Sandersides and then not actually watching it. Mm-hmm. So I know that if I just show them the first episode, they're not going to get hooked. I need to do something that gets them into it sooner. Because the stuff that I love about, let me rephrase that. I love everything about Sandersides, but my heart and soul is in season 2.
Yeah.
So I'm trying, and I know that that's where I fell in love with Sandersides, right at the end of season 1. So if I really want this person to watch with me and I think it's really good, sometimes I'll start with Accepting Anxiety, even though they don't know Virgil yet.
Really?
Yeah, because like, as I say, that's my favorite one in terms of like season 1. But if I think, well, if I think it's like a desperate thing, but then like, if I try to be desperate, it's never worked because it never gets to that point, I don't think. But I know if I'm just showing like, if I think they'll like it enough, I kind of show any of the episodes that are like 10 minutes ish in season 1. So like Losing Motivation, The Mind Negative Thinking, Am I Original? And I also say Alone on Valentine's Day, even though I know Thomas doesn't like
it's
that one.
It's a good episode.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites. It's solid.
Like, I understand why it's weird looking back on that one. Alternatively, though, it's a really amusing episode.
I love it so much. My reaction to Have I Grown when everybody, all the characters were like this to the episode, I was like, no, stop it. It's so good.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
It's so good.
But yeah, no, not that I'm like, am I trying to manipulate them into liking it? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe,
yes,
but a little bit. But
have to.
Because I know that like, even if somebody approached me with Sanders Sides now, and I didn't know anything about it, I really think the first episode would not hook me.
Fair enough.
And I know that like you don't necessarily need to be hooked in that first episode, but like I think it's harder to, for some reason it just feels harder to get somebody to watch Sanders Sides than it would be to get somebody to watch Steven Universe and get through that first season of Steven Universe.
See, I see them as very similar.
Everyone talks about.
I see them as a very similar thing because both have that sort of situation, and a lot of shows nowadays have the same situation where they'll start out very simple and the plots are very like basic simple and not too like crazy, and then they sort of build up to actually having like a more intense story as they go.
My only counterpoint to that is I think there is the difference of Steven Universe being very popular.
Oh, okay, so it already has like well, contrary to that, Steven Universe notoriously is hated upon for its fan base. Unfortunately.
Really?
It's tragic. It's tragic how people treat Steven Universe in the fan base because of the fan base. Which is a common problem with a lot of franchises and fandoms now, that like people base it all on the fan base. Like I know that I knew someone who wouldn't get into I think it was Infinity Train because they were so annoyed with the fan base.
Oh yeah.
Which drove me nuts because I was like, Infinity Train to me is such a beautiful, fascinating, just perfect little show. And to not want to watch it because of the fan base felt like, well, it's like, why does the fan base matter? Like,
the fan base
who cares?
Is irrelevant to the story, yeah.
Truly, it's like you don't need to like the fan base to like a series. Like if I loved a series and the fan base was crappy, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't treat it and be like, oh, well, I don't want to watch the show now because the fan base ruined it. It's like, no, I want to watch a show because I like the show. I don't care if anybody else likes it. Like, it'd be nice if other people did and if they weren't clods, but like clods. That is, Peridot is half the reason why I do say clods. The other half is Aaron Hansen.
That's so good. But yeah, I'm sad that I've been disappointed so many times with people like saying they want to watch it and not giving any. I feel like I have to drag them sometimes, and I've just kind of given up unless people really are pressed about it.
I've felt that before too.
But like that's so. That's honestly about any show. Like that's not just Sanders Sides, but like Sanders Sides has become such a massive part of my interests that I feel like you can't really just psych me out with that because that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
So yeah, but that's how I do it. I try to kind of like add some kind of extra like hook in there.
Yeah.
Fitting in is also a really good one, I think.
Fitting in is a really good one, actually. That's a very good episode for that. Yeah,
but also like I think the context the only reason I never do fitting in is because the names are said over and over in that one.
That's true.
I've thought about this before. Like, that's a really good one to show the character after you've shown one of these, like, 10-minute ones at the beginning, so that you kind of understand who they are and what they represent. And then you can jump over there. But then accepting anxiety is so important that, like...
Yeah, that's the other thing, though, is that I would almost not agree with that as a first episode, though, because that's such, like, a plot-relevant moment for Virgil, that starting with that and then not having that same build-up would be a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, so honestly, I didn't include accepting anxiety there. But like, I had a friend talking to me once that wanted to watch it that was saying that she knew enough about the series, like she knew who everybody represented. Mm-hmm. So she knew that much. So that was why I was like, okay, well, why don't we watch Accepting Anxiety? Because then you know enough about it. So like, it really depends on the person.
That's true. Because if the person has foreknowledge, then the spoilers become a bit null and void, because as long as it's not spoiling anything that they don't already know, then that's okay.
Yeah, I would definitely argue that anything after fitting in needs to be watched in order.
Oh yeah.
And not like moving forward, don't start there.
That's a deep episode to start with.
No, you really need to, like, after fitting in, you go straight through. You don't no way. You don't do anything else.
Yeah. And even as much as I love an episode like SBS, I wouldn't start a person on Sanders Sides with that. No. Because that's so out of format, too.
But that's the thing. You don't know who Janice is.
Oh, that, too. Yeah. That's a big one.
You can't start there because you don't know who Janice is. And you can't start with Can Lying Be Good because you need to know who Patton is first.
True, so that you know that it's not him. Because then you're going to be like, why is this character that I'm seeing for the first time a different character? What?
I don't think I have ever introduced anybody to Can Lying Be Good. I want to do that so fucking bad. To see that
reaction on the first time.
Oh, I want to do that so bad because I remember that being such a drop with me.
Oh, yeah. It's such a terrifying moment. Like, this wholesome little boy that you see, and then you're like, who the fuck are you?
You know, I love the Uncanny Valley. And that was Uncanny Valley all over it, and it made me very happy. It was so good. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
It's sick.
All right, ready for the next question?
Yeah.
All right. Back to Phoenix.
What's next?
Back to Phoenix, we got favorite song from Sanders Sides.
Oh my god.
This is a pretty easy one for me. You can go first if you want. I don't remember who went first. I think I went first last time, so you can go first this time again.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it off. So I'm not as partial to the songs in the series. Like, not that I don't like them. I think they're really well done. But I don't know. I guess mine is probably Crofters. I really like the Crofters musical.
That's cool.
It also very well could be that I've listened to them so much that I'm done listening to them.
That's a good point. You're a little burnt out because you've listened to them too many times.
I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm a little bit of a massive fan of Sanders Sides. So I've seen Sanders Sides one too many times. But, just a little bit. But I guess my other favorite would be the Rhythm Redux. I found that one really fun to learn and really fun to I think it's a really good way. I've heard before, especially in musicals, that songs in stories are when the character doesn't have any more words to say, they have to sing it. Yeah. It adds more to it. So I think Rhythm Redux is a really good example of them having not being able to talk and being okay, let me.
Yeah, it's when the emotion gets so high that you cannot even just express it normally. You have to burst out a song.
I think that's a good example of that, and it's a rap, and I do like the.
It's so weird calling it a rap to me. Is it a rap? I guess it is.
It's what do you call that? Synchronous skis or scriddle.
Two Ethan references in one episode.
Syncopated. That's the word. Syncopated storyline. Syncopated wording.
I like alliteration.
It's poetry, but stronger and musical and rap.
I guess so. Technically. I think it's hard for me to say rap because it sounds very different from raps I've typically heard. But I guess by definition of what a rap is, I guess it is a rap.
Yeah.
Vibes. It's a good one.
Syncopation.
Oh my god. So mine, also, side note, I find it amusing so far that, like, we have not had a single overlap in our answers. I don't remember if there is any overlap in any of our answers. I'm intrigued.
We're not the same person.
What?
And then vibe. I love that. I love the variety in Sanders' side, especially like the episode introduced. That was such a cool question. So like the way that we have difference of opinion in that is really cool.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So my favorite song, I have two, because why answer one question with one answer when you can not? My main favorite is definitely Incomplete from Learning New Things About Ourselves. That song just makes me so happy. It's such a perfect little song. It also encapsulates like those kids show vibes, so I might be biased because I am a little Blue's Clues freak, but like I just love the vibe of it, and it's nice and it includes all the sides, and it's just like it's really feel good and pushes a lot of like of the narrative of like the different like character development moments, and it's just like and Logan has his little moment in the middle, and it's like whoa.
Oh, it's so good. You know what? I'm realizing I take back any kind of shade towards Sanders' side songs. How did I even
how dare you
put that across?
How
because
dare you?
I loved that song when it came out. Incomplete was so good.
It's so good.
And just it's just harder to listen. I think I just listen to it too frequently.
Yeah.
I get fixated really bad.
Oh, me too. I'll listen to the same song 50 times in a row, and then I'll get bored of it, and I'll wonder why I got bored of it.
That's fair, yeah. Yep.
My other favorite song is Lies. I don't know what the actual name is, but it's the New Year's resolution episode song. The one that Janice was not included in.
I love it. That's such a good song. I remember him saying that, I remember Thomas saying it was like it turned into a country song and it wasn't really what he imagined or whatever. Something like that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't even know if I'd call it a country song, but like I know
I wouldn't call it country, but that's what I remember him saying. But
it's just like a little earworm of a song that one is. Also, if I were to add one more to my list, I think I'd say the 12 Days of Christmas was really nice.
That's so good.
I think it's really hard to make a good 12 Days of Christmas song, especially with like characters, because it gets so cheesy so quick. But I really liked this one. Like they made it entertaining all throughout.
Yeah, no, I was entranced the whole time. I also remember that one coming out. That one was fun to watch. Because I watched it like 4 or 5 different times to like watch each side.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And
that's the thing. If there's one thing I can say to anybody in the future who wants to make a 12 Days of Christmas song parody cover thing, change it as it goes. Don't just go with simple repetition. Change it as it goes. Let the characters react in the song in real time. That's what makes it interesting. Because if you just do normal repetition, it gets really boring. That's why that song is so long and so exhausting. But when people do like little interjections, like they do in this one, like it just makes it more entertaining.
It's solid.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, should we take a quick moment? A moment? Accidental moment! To do a Mind Palace moment?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Can the fireworks stop? I know it's a shut up. Hello. Roman here. I was playing the flute on the computer. So I just wanted to do something cool. But I don't know how to play the flute. What? How about this? Go forth and listen to the rest of Amy and Tech's podcast. And I will go learn how to play the flute for next time. Maybe by then the fireworks outside will have stopped because Jessie's neighbors are having a grand old time.
Roman, don't lie. Stop lying, Roman. I'll wave my flute at you. Stop lying, Roman.
Where'd you get a flute?
Stop it. Don't ask questions.
I ask all the questions. That's what a tech
Maybe
do.
I'm learning how to play flute. You don't know.
Oh. Are you? Oh, dang.
Maybe. I want to.
Flutes.
I can only make a noise right now. Hold on. Watch me. Ready?
Do it.
Or listen to me. Even you Spotify listeners. Audio warning, probably.
Oh,
I'm going to point at this.
Okay. Flute noise.
Like a train. I'm a brass player. I'm not a woodwind player.
This is fair.
Anyway.
I also once played brass. I played a
Team.
trumpet.
Team. I played the French horn.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I also played the trumpet, but I played the French horn first.
Ooh, vibes. I don't know the French horn as well as the trumpet, but yes.
Yeah.
I don't know the French horn at all. I know what a French horn is, barely.
You know, and that's all you need to know, I think. You don't
Just
need to
in
go
life?
through... Yeah.
Oh.
No, in life.
In life?
All you need to know is what a French horn is, and that's it.
And that'll get you through your day.
That's it.
All you need to know going into a new country is how to ask for the bathroom and what a French horn is. These are the two staples.
You can be able to point at it on a picture, and they'll let you right into the subway.
That's what people don't tell you about places outside of the United States. You always need to know what a French horn is, or you'll be executed. That's how it goes.
Execute.
Executed for not knowing what a French horn is.
Well, there you go.
Oh my God. Ready for more questions?
To the moment. Or that. Oh wait, we didn't say that was
moment.
Okay.
I forgot about that. We were too busy talking about flutes.
I mean, I would pull out my flute. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Technical?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't actually know where the questions are coming
I
from.
was about to be like, are you about to ask the next question? Because we haven't done that yet.
I don't know who it's from, so...
Well, I can tell you. It's from Phoenix again.
Phoenix
is asking us...
You provided so many questions, you're an icon.
Truly.
Get it.
Phoenix asked... man.
Huh?
I should try using some consonants this time.
You're doing
Phoenix asked us what our favorite moment from Sandersides is.
Oh boy.
Maybe I'll use some consonants in my answer. Maybe not. It depends on the day. It depends on the second.
The hour and the minute. All of the above.
It varies moment to moment. Moment! That was a moment. Anyways,
Okay.
So, my favorite moment from Sandersides. I have a lot of favorite moments. There's a lot of good moments in this series, fun fact. I have this
The
opinion.
entire series is the favorite moment.
What? Oh, yeah. There's this nice moment that started at the beginning of episode 1, and it's still going. Honestly, it's a very long... I mean...
What a moment.
what defines a moment, really? A small section of time? Any time is small if you compare it to the vast infinity of time.
I mean, I would define a moment as the Sandersides making trying to be entertaining in the middle of our podcast.
Oh, yeah. I guess the actual definition of a moment is that.
Yeah.
If you look up moment in the dictionary, you see a picture of Mind Palace moments.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah. We invented it. New term.
We did. Who knew the word moment before? No one except...
Nope. Vocab drop right on the series.
Okay. We are the best. Anyway, okay.
God, we are number one. Just as Robbie Rod always intended.
Oh my God, Robbie Rod.
Ah! Can you tell we've been rewatching Lazy Town? Anyways, it's so good.
It really is actually. Go back and watch it. Anyway.
It is. It's all on YouTube somehow. I don't know how it's not being taken down, but it isn't. Watch it now. All of it.
Go watch it now. Go watch it now.
Watch from like season 1 to season 2, and then stop.
All right.
No offense. That's just when the original Stephanie leaves. The next one does okay.
OG. She's the OG.
Yeah, I'm just opinionated. Anyways, my favorite moment from Sandersides, back on track, is from Putting Others First. My favorite moment that I have is the talk between Patton and Janice nearing the end of that episode, where I know the little talk where Patton is wondering like how many apologies before like it's enough or too many, and then Janice kind of has this like off comment of just like, oh, just I would love for someone to consistently apologize and just have the same things happen over and over again, and Patton's just sort of like, oh, and then Janice is like, oh, guilt. Actually, and then he like goes into like an actual answer. It's just a really sweet moment, and honestly a moment I really resonate with, just as someone who also is constantly worried about apologizing too much, but also someone who is like a people pleaser to the point where I've given a lot of chances to people, so that moment just has a lot of weight to it in my mind. I know it's definitely one that sticks with me as I deal with certain situations, in my life.
I can't get over Thomas's acting there.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's one of those really good vulnerable moments for Patton. And a nice, really open moment from Janice. That episode is just a really good Janice.
It just opened them. Yeah, it just opened them up a little bit.
Yeah. It's just a really good interaction. I love just whenever Patton and Janice get to interact.
Yeah.
It's just such a... It's so... I mean, that's really one of the only examples of that. But, like, still, I want more of it because of that moment. Oh, also, there was also the music video thing.
The one in the music video?
Yeah, from the song from Over the Garden Wall.
Into the Unknown?
Yes. I always forget that's what it's called because I hear that name and my mind instantly goes to Frozen. So...
Into the Unknown! That was my song.
That last note was really, really excellent.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You've done theater? Yeah?
A little bit. God. Don't,
it shows.
Oh my God, you're making me feel so good about myself. Quit. What do you know?
That was totally my intention. Yes.
I'm blushing.
What is your favorite moment?
Oh God, I have 3.
Oh, good.
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't even know if I agree with these.
Me with every answer I've ever answered to any question.
And I don't have the moment of one step in front of the other kiddo. That's by far
blasphemy.
One of my favorite things.
I mean, we've already been blasphemous talking about favorite lines and not bringing up the vase line, the meme-filled vase line from the same episode that we were talking about before.
Listen, I really should have made that one of my favorite lines too, because that's so good.
Who broke this vase?
Who broke this vase? Everyone who's here at my awesome party, this huge crowd of people, that's definitely here. Okay. But
Stacey, will make cookies? That's my favorite part of that whole line. Honestly, that's the best part of that line, because it's just this horrible torment for this poor boy. And then suddenly he's like, let's make cookies. I like cookies.
I'll be honest, I love the line right after that, where he's just like, doing the whole, Thomas, I was giving you gold, and you were giving me nothing. Was it the red Solo cup? That may not have been enough, but you out of the moment. Whatever, I don't know. But I love it. I love that episode. It's so good.
It's so good.
I mean, to bleed into that, Ennis's reveal, can lying be good in general? And really, the only reason that one's there on my list is because of how much I freaked out. Like, I remember watching that episode for the first time, and I've said this before, I'm sure, on the podcast already, but like, I just remember looking at Patton and being like, that's a little weird for Patton. I don't know. And honestly, like, no shade to anyone on the writing team of Sanders Sides, but I remember sitting there being like, this is not great writing, but okay. And then I went on. I was like, I don't think that's Patton, but okay. And I remember, like, I had a few moments of that. And yeah, I don't even remember where specifically. If I watched the episode, I might be able to find it. But just how clever that was. And then when the reveal happened, I freaked out. I was like, what is happening? Because I also really love uncanny shit.
Yeah.
So like, we were just talking about that, but like, oh my God, that's one of the best. That ruined me. Also,
to double back about the Patton, like in that episode, that you thought like sounded funky until the reveal. It's funny whenever I hear people say that, and it's funny when I see the episode back now too, because I didn't catch on even a little bit. Not even honestly, a single second.
That's probably a better drop. That's probably a better drop than because it hit harder.
Oh no, truly, I didn't see anything really weird. I think I even like brushed off the idea that he was being so okay with lying, because I just sort of characterized that as I was like, okay, Patton, like he's being weird because he's so into the idea of lying right now. But I was like, well, maybe he would be, because he's the heart and he doesn't want Thomas to lose his friend. And it's understandable that he would want to do something maybe a little bit out of what he would normally do, because he wants to protect the friendship and he's feeling sentimental about that. So like I went through that whole episode not having any idea. Like, even him just being like, haha, Roger Rabbit, I like cartoons. Like, stuff like that, which now I'm listening to and I'm like, wow, that's so clearly not Patton, because why would he even specify that? But, like, even him saying friendo instead of kiddo, I was just like, friendo's a good word. And I use it now because of him.
The friendo was where I went, no. I remember being like, no, because, as I say, like, the one step in front of the other kiddo is my line. And they're like, no.
I didn't catch on at all.
Like, now that I think back, I really do think the whole like, right? You know how I love cartoons? I'm sitting there like, that's not great writing. What is happening right now?
But the funny thing is, like, that sounds like some crap I'd say in the middle of a joke. I'm like, hey, you know, because the thing I like, it's wonderful.
That's something you would say. That's not something Patton would say.
Well, I am Patton.
Patton never calls attention to his humor. What did you say?
I said, well, I am Patton.
Oh.
Don't you see my little index card, which I'm pointing the wrong direction? This index card over here?
Oh.
Indeed.
No, I genuinely think that's super clever.
Oh, it was brilliant.
I think that they did that really, really well now that I look back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that. That's gonna withstand time.
Yeah.
That's iconic. I love any moments between Janice and Virgil.
Fair.
I don't know why. I love those two with every fiber of my being. Every time they just like remotely come at each other's throats, SVS is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like just one of my favorites is the whole like, right, I don't remember what it is. I didn't think about this too hard enough because I love them in the courtroom, which is what I was referencing in my notes. But like, I also love them. The whole like, oh man, it's like as soon as he shows up, he's just like, oh, your face is something. Oh, come on. Oh, I'm dying. As a Sanders
was
fan.
it well, didn't he say like, well, your face ruined my day?
Your face ruined my day.
Hey.
So called. That's.
I forget what Janice said that prompted it. Because that was a response. But I don't remember what it was a response to.
No, I almost said showing up where I'm not invited. That's not.
No.
Not Janice. Janice says something like, I love that you just ruined my dramatic.
Oh,
and
yes.
So good. Well, your face ruined my day. There it is. Okay. That's so good. I love every single bit. That and also the line, oh man, it's the one after the Nazis. He's just like, that cannot be where the bar is. Anything between Janice and Virgil. Anyway,
they're so good.
And then, okay, acting moment. I am very, very happy. The last favorite moment that I have so far, because we're going into the newer stuff. I have loved watching Patton talk about Nico.
Ooh.
As much as like, it's really sad and it hurts. Like the way that Thomas is performing it, as well as the way the writers have written that out. It's special to me because I've had heartbreak similar to that to an extent. So like watching loving someone else be very, very hard and very, very scary to the heart and no one else is fascinating to me. I love that. So every time Patton's like, oh, he's nice, I'm like, yeah, he's nice.
He's nice. That's all I have to say right now, Mother.
Looking forward to getting to meet him, he says, and I'm like,
yeah, you could see like the angst there, just like hiding behind the smile.
Like, I think the line is looking forward to getting to meet him.
I think something like that.
Like,
yeah.
Already met. Getting to know him. No, it's getting to know him.
I guess so. Yeah.
So literally, like, Roman and Virgil are just going off of like the initial first impressions, whereas Patton's like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, please, this is fantastic. This, please. I love
Patton.
that shit.
You were pressy boy.
Psychology in the series works. It just
it does.
What?
Hence the podcast.
Hence the podcast.
Wow.
That's why we're here, folks. Yeah.
Oh my god. Ready for our next question?
Yeah.
We have a question from a person named B.
I love B.
Their question is, do you have a favorite bit of psychology that Sanders has covered? Their talk on cognitive distortions, intrusive thoughts, etc. A concept that you liked the most.
Gosh. Am I going first?
You can go first. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. So,
I don't know what's happening.
Okay. My favorite bit, listen, there's a lot of moments that like akin to what we were just talking about, the fact that like I see something from my own psychology and then that sets me off because I'm like, oh, please, that's perfect. So honestly, I have right here, moving forward, obviously, because I love the new the perspective on grief that you just have to sit in it, and you just have to keep walking, and you just have to keep moving, even if it's not about death. Like if your grief is not about death, your grief is valid. I don't think enough people talk about that, which is one of the reasons that's my favorite episode, because it really spoke to me in a way that, like, now every time that I'm really sad about something that I cannot change, I just remember that episode and I move forward with it. So I mean, I've been using that piece of psychology every day of my life. But again, that's like the first time I've talked about this on the podcast. It's so important to me. But also the other two that I have here, because I knew that would be a pretty obvious answer.
Fair.
I have my negative thinking, because I am an actor and I do that audition shit all the time. And oh boy howdy, the amount of times that I've caught myself in a cognitive distortion at this point. I'm surprised I said that right, because normally I'll say cognitive distortions. It
has to be said.
I said it right. I can't believe that. But no, especially as someone with anxiety, like, it really helps to put those anxious thoughts into perspective, especially when you're doing a rough audition. Because, like, I had the last show that I was a part of, like genuinely a part of, where I didn't have a script in my hand. I had a really rough starting audition. I hated it. It was bad. It was really bad. I stumbled on my words, and I had a moment where I was standing there like, I don't know what the fuck to do now. And it was just, it was bad. So then I was like, yeah, I failed that. That was terrible. But then they called me back, because it was one of those like cattle call auditions where there's multiple shows being auditioned for at once. Okay. But you could do whatever you wanted. So I just absolutely murdered that first audition. But then one person called me back, and I got Betty number 5 in what do you call that? Collective Rage, The Tale of 5 Bettys. Now, to preface, please do not go look that show up. Very others in how dark it is, or how like it's definitely rated R plus, at least. Please don't look that up. You won't.
I remember you told me, because that was one of the first. That was the show that I remember I saw you do, because that show was being streamed on a website. So
it was during COVID.
Yeah. So I remember it was early into our friendship too. And you were like, "Oh, I'm doing the show if you want to like watch it." And I was like, "Yes, I would love to watch you in a show, my friend." And so I carved out the time, and I sat down, and you warned me too. You were like, "It's a bit much," and I was like, "I'm sure I'll be fine." No. And then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh God, my poor asexual brain, I can't handle this." I was like, "It's still amusing, and I'm still having a lot of fun watching, but dear Lord, some of the wordage being used is too much for me."
But yeah.
I still love that show, and I would still. I was gonna say I would rewatch that show. I have rewatched that show.
Special to me.
It's so good. I have like a lot of nostalgia for that. Weirdly, like in our friendship, every time I hear about it, I'm like, "Oh, like yay!" I love Collective Rage.
It's been so long, but yeah. Anyway, I genuinely remember like freaking out that I got even remotely a callback for that, for any of the shows, because I remember being like, "That sucked. What are you talking about?" And the callback saved me so hard, because I remember it was actually, this has nothing to do with anything, but like I remember being in the callback, and the director, like, I was up for 2 roles. The thing about this show is there are 5 Bettys, and I was up for Betty number 4 and Betty number 5, because they're all named Betty. Anyway, that's who I was up for. And so I auditioned for Betty, or I did callback stuff for Betty 5, where I was cold reading from the script. And then I did that, and then I remember the director like looking off camera and like whispering, and then saying, "Okay, you're good to go."
Oh.
And I was like, "I haven't done Betty 4 yet."
That's spooky.
And they were like, "No." I just kind of like clarify. I didn't mean to be like, I definitely don't think I said like, "But I haven't done Betty 4 yet." But I definitely went like, "Are you sure?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I said, okay. So I got off that call pretty convinced that I had Betty number 5, and then I had Betty 5, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they just knew who you seemed good for, I guess.
It was crazy. But yeah, that's the thing. You never know. With auditions, you never know. Mm-hmm. So those cognitive distortions, especially in auditions, have really been helpful to walk through, because I've also had therapists hand me whole sheets of like cognitive distortion lists. And then I've also learned about them in psychology, and I'm like, So that's dope.
I love them Haagen-Dazs dispersions.
Yeah.
You kept saying it, and I was just like, I need to say the opposite right now.
It's so good. It just, you're not a Sanders Studs fan if you don't do that.
I think of that term first, and I remember cognitive distortions because of that term.
Good.
Literally, like I can't think of one. I can't think of the actual term without hearing it first in my brain the other way.
No, that's
just how it is.
So learning new things about ourselves is the other one. Just getting to the bottom of an issue when you don't know what the issue is.
Oh.
Like just sitting with your feelings and like being okay with whatever comes up. Like learning to accept it no matter what it is. I've had to do that a lot too. So as much as like, that one's harder to kind of like talk about, because it's, you know, there's a question, but you don't know what the question is to be able to ask the question. It's always so hard, but then like being willing to like let your feelings out and let them talk, and then being like, oh, actually I know what it is because now I can feel it. You know,
that's
like
fair. I mean, sometimes feelings like that are so buried in the subconscious. And I know I deal with that a lot, like depression-wise, where I'll just sort of like wake up one day, I'll be like, man, I feel terrible. Why? I'm not sure yet. I'm sure there is a reason. It's just not at the forefront of my mind right now. So I guess I'll just suffer. I say as I shove water in my face to make me stop. Anyways.
No, you're so bad.
Yeah.
So what are the moments or the favorite bits of psych that you have?
For me, it's surrounding my favorite 2 episodes, SBS and Putting Others First.
Oh.
They're so good. No, I love the questions surrounding the morality of a person. I love the questions of like, what makes someone a good person? What actions lead to that? And especially in Putting Others First, like how intensely do the intentions matter in being a good person? There's something about that subject in general that not only do I just really enjoy, but like as I was thinking about it as you were talking, as I was like looking at my notes, and I was like, I just realized too that like several other pieces of media also deal with the subject. For me, it's why I love The Good Place so much. And it's honestly why I love Infinity Train so much. They all deal with this question of like morality and like how your choices affect you and you know your overall standing as like a good person or maybe a less than moral person.
Yeah,
it's something that's fascinating. Like I said, I love Putting Others First so much because they just sort of sit there and talk and have like these random scenarios thrown out in these questions of like what is the morally okay thing to do, and as especially as someone who again is very much a people pleaser and someone who's trying not as much to be a people pleaser but like falls into it so hard, having like those conversations is very interesting, and especially when you're trying to like debunk the idea that you have to do every little thing to be perceived as a good person, like, and you can do things for yourself and you can act selfishly sometimes because you need to be able to treat yourself, and you can't just, you know, put your, you know, good vibes into the world 100% of the time, you know, at the risk of, you know, destroying yourself in the process. Like it's a fascinating subject, and it's part of why I love those episodes so much.
Yeah, it's a really important concept because I don't think enough people, I think people are either on, I think it's really split these days between like people who are really people pleasing and really selfless, not giving enough attention to themselves, and then the other side of giving too much attention to themselves and not being selfless as they should.
It's really hard to find that balance.
I don't know many people who, I mean, let me rephrase that. Like, there are people who find that balance, but it's hard in society these days to find that balance.
Oh, yeah. Both sides of that spectrum are so, like, magnetic that, like, you try to pull away from it, and you just find yourself slipping back. Like, I'm trying not to be as much of a people pleaser in recent time, but it's so hard not to just, like, default back to it.
Yeah, and I'm
Because,
such
the moral questioning comes in. Sorry? What did you say? I heard that. You say that again for the people to hear, because I'm mad at you.
I said, and I'm such an egotistical asshole that sometimes I need to bring it down.
I will fight you. I will physically fight you. Patent energy. I will get you.
Oh my gosh. I'm being silly.
And you better be. I will not have my friend talking about themselves like that around me on this podcast.
I mean, that's the patent energy I need in a friendship.
The aggressive positivity. That's my favorite brand of positivity. Aggressive positivity.
Aggressive.
It's my favorite to give. I get scared when people do it to me. I'll see TikTok videos of someone doing that at the camera. I'll be like, no, I'm anxious now because it feels like you're mad at me. But like, I like doing it to people though, so like, vice versa.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Do we have one more question left?
We have 2 more questions left.
2 more questions.
2 whole more questions. Do you not have the answer to one of the questions? Well, that's going to be interesting. Let's go with our second to last question, which maybe is the one that you have an answer to, and it may not be. We have a question from our friend Lucy. From our friend Lucky Creates.
I love Lucy.
Lucy's great.
By the way, I did say I love Phoenix and I love Kay. I love you both too.
Oh,
I don't know why that just like really said, oh my god, I love you guys. I love all
the people. But
Good
Lucy
fuck.
gets special shout out because like she's our friend.
Well, yeah, Lucy has been my friend for years and years and years. So I
Lucy asks, which side's character development do you appreciate the most?
that's the one I have.
Yay! That's good. The last question's a mystery. Ooh. So for me, what?
Go ahead, Tucker.
Oh yeah. For me, I have 2 sides for this. One being Janice.
2 sides.
What?
2 sides for this?
Yeah, I think you're thinking I meant that in a different context, whereas I meant it literally as 2 sides. Yeah, yes. I didn't mean there are 2 sides of the coin I'm feeling on this. I mean I have 2 Sanders sides on this list here in my notes.
Tegral, I think this is one of those moments that defines our friendship. Like, you just understand me. You get me.
I know immediately what you thought happened.
I appreciate you very much.
If I'm nothing else, I am a Steve translator, Euro-C Steve translator, but I'm also an Amy translator.
Yay!
The only thing I can't translate is my own thoughts. Anyways, it's a mood and a half. So Janice is the first side here, which like he hasn't gone through like a load of development so far. Like he's still fairly new, but I loved, again, like going back to Putting Others First, especially. I love seeing him open up. Like that episode was such a big like development for Janice because he reveals the name. You know, he opens up. He's acting kinder than normal. Like he's really like, that was the episode that really cemented him as like the mental health one, like specifically more than anyone else. Because he comes in and is telling Thomas to like be selfish, treat yourself, don't wait until you go through a crisis to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And seeing that from like the character who once was unmasked like a Scooby-Doo villain, in Virgil's words.
Well done. That was awesome.
Thank you. I love Scooby-Doo and Virgil, so it was bound to happen. But
They're good.
no, like seeing how he started as this like very seemingly stereotypical villain, and him sort of being further characterized as someone who's just looking out for Thomas in his own occasionally sadistic ways. But like, he has such good intentions, and we're going to talk about that, I know in a later episode. But I just love seeing his more open side. It's just really nice, and seeing how far that's come so far. My other one is Patton, which I feel like, I don't know if that's a controversial take. I feel like some people are going to be like, well, he hasn't gone through enough development yet because he's still struggling. But it's like, no, he started out as this super chipper, dadly, like pun-based character who's just like a little child boy. And I like that he's gotten more complex. Again, going to Putting Others First. Everything centers around Putting Others First for me. but like seeing him question himself and letting himself be a bit more solemn in moments and being honest with his feelings and trying to work hard at, you know, being forgiven for some of these things that he's accidentally doing that are making certain people uncomfortable, like with Virgil, or even again putting others first with Thomas. It's nice seeing that even though he's still struggling with it, he's making a legitimate effort.
Yeah.
And that's really nice, and it's showing that he's not just like, you know, he's not hiding away from his feelings anymore. He's being honest when he feels this way with people, and when he's voicing his concerns.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I just it makes Patton feel more and more like a remember those consonants I needed before? I should use some more of those. It's my favorite thing to say now when I start like fumbling words. I'm like, I just need more consonants.
More consonants.
Harder K's and T's and such.
And
such. But no, I don't remember where I was going. I just really like how Patton has, you know, it's really about the characters who are getting more open and in touch with like their vulnerabilities and being honest about that. It's good vibes, and it's honestly, it's probably because as someone who struggles with that himself, it's something that I'm seeing and want to engage in myself. So it's nice to see other characters do that because it makes me feel a bit better about wanting, like, doing it myself.
Iconic. Yes. Yes.
What about you?
So I would agree with you. I know I have. I've said before that I have a funky relationship with Patton. But the reason I think Patton is one of the ones that stands out to me personally because of how personal it is. I think any kind of like discomfort I have with the character of Patton, I think plays into some of my past and plays into how real and raw that character's development is. You're saying? Yeah. I think he's changed a lot. I think he's still got a long way to go.
Oh, yeah.
But also knowing my big thing, which I definitely will be talking about later, but just knowing that Patton comes from a Christian background and that intensity of his sense of right and wrong without much explanation as to why is very, very real to me. And just like you with the people pleasing, learning to love yourself, because I don't think we can definitively say that Patton loves himself.
Yeah, he definitely
say that.
Yeah. I think he's struggling with that, especially in recent time.
I don't think you can say that. But
which mood?
Yeah, I think as much as Patton hurts to watch, I think I love that it hurts to watch.
Yeah.
Because of how personal it's been with especially coming out of people pleasing and stuff. On the other hand, though, in terms of just like which character I enjoy watching, because if I don't enjoy watching Patton's all that much, I really enjoy Virgil, as is not a surprise. Virgil, as simple, quote unquote, as his arc is, because he's just anxiety learning to like back off a little. It's also it's cool to watch Virgil open up, and it's cool to watch him relax into being understood and feeling like he's seen.
And I'd argue that he's probably, and this might be debatable, but I'd argue that he's the character who's had the most development so far.
Yeah,
like the most different from where he started, like the most stark change.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's evident too because there's a lot of episodes that have really focused on that character development.
Yeah.
Like even like fitting in, embarrassing phases. Like I can think of several episodes off the top of my head that specifically serve to push Virgil's like arc.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I'd agree.
Honestly, Virgil would have made my list too, but I'm just.
I think
biased.
all of them, genuinely, I think all of them have really good development.
Oh,
right
truly.
now. I think it's interesting to watch them all, but that's just the specific ones we're talking about.
Yeah, the ones that we're resonating with is who we're choosing. Yeah. Oh my god. Are you ready to hear the last question that you don't have in your notes?
That I don't have in my notes? Fantastic.
You ready to bullcrap this question?
I've never been more ready in my life.
Whoa. I don't know what that noise was. Whoa! Like,
Whoa! We were talking about Mike Wazowski's scream. Yeah! Whoa, yeah! This is irrelevant information. I'm just making fun.
It's just something that you did several times before this episode recording.
Before we even started recording, and now you know. So anyway.
I'm so distracted now. If you need to know how to make a tech reel laugh, it's just by recreating a funny noise from a thing he recognizes. That's all it takes.
Now I want to do that, but we got to keep moving.
No, we need to get this question. You're so prepared for.
I'm so prepared.
K-Log, once again, asks, is there any moment or moments in Sandersides that made you realize something about yourself? If so, then what is it? / what are they? Would you like to go first, or should I?
Well, the thing is, that question, I almost feel like I've answered a few times.
Yeah, I think we both answered this one a little bit. Quite a bit.
The thing is, the pattern with people pleasing and learning to be less selfless, it was a really big piece for me. But I don't think that stemmed from Sandersides. I think it definitely was aided by Sandersides. And I know the grief aspect, I think, is probably like the moving on, moving forward thing I keep talking about might have been spawned by Sandersides.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The cognitive distortions, definitely, I think I learned that from Sandersides.
Honestly, same. I don't even have that on my list, but that's actually like a really potent one.
I think that's definitely one that got me. But I'm trying to think through all the episodes.
Go through every single episode. I believe in you. You can do this.
Yeah, the Am I Original probably got me a little bit.
Ooh,
it definitely assisted, because at that point in my life when I first watched that, I wasn't making content, but now it kind of, I definitely do think about the mindset of like, it's an imperfect copy. So like, let it be the imperfect copy.
Honestly, I've been doing content for a long time, and that one definitely resonates with that fear of, copying, and fear of like not being interesting or original enough, not finding your niche in your content.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing. I think that's one that a lot of content creators would resonate with quite well.
Yeah.
Because I think every content creator, I'm sure at some point has to have like encountered that phenomenon.
I don't think content creators get enough recognition for how much work goes into what they do.
And media definitely doesn't do well to represent that, which pisses me off endlessly.
Yeah, genuinely.
The amount of times that I've seen a character show up in a show and they're like a content creator, they're always like one of a couple stereotypes. And I'm just like, dear Lord, can we just get some like actual representation with actual issues that content creators deal with?
Yeah, and they're also so spunky. Like, creators tend to be really like just tired as fuck.
Truly. Like, there was a character that showed up in the newest generation of My Little Pony. That is like I guess she's like what is she, like the equivalent of like an Instagram streamer or like a Twitch streamer, or like she's supposed to be like the content creator. And I remember when I saw that, from the beginning, I was like, oh, that's actually really, we can delve into some good stuff here if the writing's right, and we can like do some really interesting stuff with that. And I haven't seen much of that series since the first like couple episodes of it, because I don't like it that much. That's just a me thing. But it felt like immediately, from what I've seen, like from the first season that I've seen, like it's so surface level. And like if I were on that show, there's so many different things I could think of that could go into like plots revolving around a character who does content creation. There's that nervousness of trying to upload, as fast as you can, or if you need a schedule. There's the, the burnout of, not knowing what to do. The burnout is so, it's such a thing. The ideas thing, the originality thing, parasocial relationships. There's so much you can do with it.
Listen, there's so much.
There's so much you can do with it, and it feels like it never gets the light that it needs. So.
Yeah, so Am I Original was a nice call out to that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those really good like representations of content creation. Like one of the better ones I've seen. So my two are one that I've seen. I think I talked about in episode 1, which is dealing with intrusive thoughts, because it's one of those episodes that I definitely saw that I was like, oh, this is a normal thing that certain people deal with. Because up until that point, I had no idea what intrusive thoughts were. I knew that I was dealing with something. I knew that I was having these thoughts that would stick in my head and I couldn't get rid of them. And I was like, what the heck is this? Am I crazy? Am I a freak? And then I saw that episode and I was like, oh, is that what they are? And is that, so they're not a thing that I should really be worried about because it's just the brain doing a thing and I don't have to, take that at face value and assume that I'm this creep of a person? That's
that episode.
Phew.
Yeah.
It's a really validating episode. My other thing, which is less of something that, I learned about myself, more of just something I learned about the concept of lying. Can lying be good? Ruined lying for me. Not ruined lying, but definitely made me more conscious of certain lies. Because it taught me about lies of omission. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what lies of omission were before, and now every time I'm not saying something that I could say to someone, my brain is like, you're lying to them. You're not actively lying, but by omitting the truth, you are committing a lie of omission. And now Logan is judging you.
He's frustrating because to an extent that's true if you there's times when that's true and then there's times that aren't.
Yeah.
And lies of omission also don't necessarily have to be bad.
Oh yeah, I think there's this. I don't know how controversial this statement is going to be, but I think there are plenty of examples that lie. To quote the title of the episode, where lying can be good. I think that not all lies are inherently bad. I think it definitely depends on the intention behind why it's being done. I don't think that all lies are inherently evil. Maybe I'm just a Janus defender, which I definitely am. But I think that just generally that's something that should be known. That not all lies have to be a terrible thing.
No, I know for me, the lies of commission, I think the ones that you just make stuff up.
Yeah.
That I don't do. I'm pretty against lying personally.
Yeah.
But lies of omission, if you're talking to somebody about I don't know, something that's really personal to you, but you also know that an example, I'm a genderqueer individual. Uh-huh. If I'm talking to somebody in my life that doesn't understand that concept or really just is going to go off and they're not going to understand, and I know that, obviously there are times where you can kind of put stuff out there, but if you know that they're just not going to listen because they have evidence of that, you don't really have to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily something that you're lying about. It's just something that you don't need to reveal to that person. Mm-hmm. It's a very valid part of me though, so I'm going to keep it there. But I'm not going to tell this person about that because maybe I don't have time for an argument right now.
Honestly.
Or maybe
I never have time for an argument. I can't do it. It's just not for me.
That's a valid reason to omit something from a conversation, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's a safety issue.
Oh, truly.
You gotta omit things. Yeah. Gosh. There's a whole lot of things. So anyway.
Reasons. But yeah, and also just to clarify, when I said that Sandor sides ruin lying, I'm joking. No. I love that episode. I love the information that episode brought on. I like knowing that what lies of omission are now. It's just
it changed my view.
It changed my view on it. Yeah. It really it made me realize something about myself. The question.
What? Ooh. Learning new things about yourself.
Oh my god.
Ourselves.
So there's this thing that's called omission. No. Bring that joke back.
I love that stood the weight of time because we recorded that a month ago or something.
That's gonna be one of those jokes that I keep coming back to. I'm sure I'm gonna keep coming back to that one because it's such a good little format for a joke.
Good,
because we learn new things so often about ourselves. So it's just if I can fit it into lyrics, I'm going to.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
Oh my gosh. Well,
what do you know?
Yeah, we've answered all the questions, and now you guys know a bit more about us.
Huzzah!
Hazoo. Hazoo.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to our ramblings. Just so you know, we are still making episodes.
We are.
If you like the episodes that you're hearing and you're noticing, please share with your friends. Let other people know about this, because we are going to be doing another Q&A soon.
Yeah.
Like every few episodes, we're going to have a Q&A just to be able to bring up topics from the past and be able to answer any clarifying questions you may have about it.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys in the future have any questions that aren't just about like things that we like and are about like topics we've talked about, like if you have any more clarifying questions about maladaptive daydreaming or any other things that we had thought about with Inside Out that we might not have brought up in that episode, then let us know and ask us. And we'd be happy to retread some old territory and, clarify any questions that you might have regarding what we've talked about and what we might not have said yet. So, yeah.
So be thinking about that, and we'll see you next Saturday.
See you next Side-ology Saturday.
Next Side-ology Saturday.
I'll never forget that you said it exactly that way. Very Picani-esque. Side-ology Saturday.
I tend to feel like I am Picani sometimes.
I agree with this. You are Picani.
In some capacity, like I'm Picani without the cartoon piece. I think
I'm the cartoon piece.
I do just musicals and anything that I can possibly have from my past.
I think if we both like Steven Universe fused, we'd make Picani.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
I like this possibility.
I love that. That's good.
We're two halves of a Picani.
We are.
I'm Ruby. You are Sapphire.
That's amazing. Oh my God! Don't even Garnet.
We are a Garnet.
Freaking.
Actually, that
Garnet.
has some implications. We are not a Garnet. Can we be Sardonyx?
Yeah.
I can be Pearl.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one Sardonyx.
No, it's Pearl and Garnet.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Big mallet and the puns and the showmanship.
Oh.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite fusions.
I still think we make Picani.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just trying to find a better analogy that wasn't two gems who are canonically like in a relationship. Because I was like, I don't want to accidentally like.
Oh, that's not what's happening.
No.
No. But anyway, on that note, hey, we love you all very much. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next Saturday, folks.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.